Hello, family and friends. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Janae Bishop-Nesbit, and on this channel, I create content regarding self-care and wellness so that you can create more ease in your life as you are aging gracefully. You know, it is my goal to be able to help as many people as possible to create the best version of themselves and make the rest of their life to be the best of their life. So today, I'd like to share with you about self-care. You know, what is self-care, redefining self-care, and why is it important, particularly for women of a special age? So what is self-care? More than spas or going to yoga classes or to the gym, the point that I would like to emphasize today is that self-care is doing something special for yourself in order to feel refreshed and rejuvenated. You know, we are experiencing a time after and being in the midst of the pandemic where there is increased chronic stress. We have a need to be able to use our time more efficiently. And it's so important that as we address this chronic stress, that we're also taking better care of themselves. So, how do we go forth and redefine self-care? Well, you know, many women, myself included, as I've navigated through life, confuse self-care with being selfish. That somehow taking care of yourself is self-involved or a selfish act instead of being one of self-respect for yourself. Taking care of yourself is like being able to, kind of like when we're on the plane, you know, when they tell us to put the mask on ourselves before helping another person, you have to put the mask on in order to be more available to be able to help others that are very important in your life. And so I want to be able to convey that self-care happens when we take specific actions to make sure our needs are met on the most fundamental level. You know, it's in essence caring for those areas of dimensions of wellness, of which the research supports 8 dimensions of wellness. And those 8 areas include your spiritual wellness, physical, emotional, your environmental wellness, your social wellness, which deals with your personal and professional relationships, your intellectual wellness, your occupational wellness, and your financial wellness. And I will be exploring all of those dimensions as I continue with different series in the course of facilitating this YouTube channel. I want to make sure that individuals in our community realize that self-care is about self-preservation. And so any small gesture that you get involved with that can reduce your overall stress and make you feel more present will help to diminish anxiety. You know, I can think of times in my life where I may have experienced anxiety or feeling overwhelmed or burned out. In fact, I'm a former school principal and I loved my job. I loved being with students. I loved helping parents, and I love school initiatives and developing projects. But I was really burning the candle on both ends. And of course, that left very little of myself for my family, which my family was very supportive, but I feel that they probably felt that I gave the best of myself to others and to projects than what I had available to come home. Self-care is also a practice of increasing your self-worth, minimizing your stress, which by default also increases your motivation, and it teaches us to be fully present in the moment. I can recall experiences, whether it was being in the military, being a wife, being a mother, being involved in the community, where I enjoyed what I was doing, but I was burning both ends of the candle. And eventually you do feel overwhelmed and burned out. And so now I am focused on how can I be fully present in my life. And so when I became suddenly widowed, I looked at exploring my life and how was I living? Was I living out loud? Was I living in accord to making the corporate setting, the school district more open to having me do more things? Or was I working to live more or living to work more. And so I decided to make a change. So the third component that I wanted to share with you all today is, why is self-care important? You know, we all, especially living here in the South, most of us have cars, and like cars, our bodies run on fuel. But no low fuel warning light comes on when we are reaching that burned out point. And so the messages that we get that our fuel is getting low is increased irritability, increased dis-ease, illness, also a decrease in our mental clarity, increase in exhaustion, decreased productivity. So if these are symptoms that reflect depleted fuel of this machine that we're operating called the human body, then symptoms of this depleted fuel can be prevented through self-care. So you're wondering, how? How can we then address these symptoms through self-care? Well, I encourage you to consider these 3 points. We take care of others before we care for ourselves. That is something that we're going to have to kind of rewind, flip the script, so to speak. Begin to take care of ourselves so that we would have the energy and the wherewithal to be able to take care of those individuals who are so important in our lives. In addition, showing yourself a little love. Self-love is a popular term that we hear a lot about nowadays. Showing yourself a little self-love will give you more energy to return that love to others, whether that love to others is to projects, to individuals, to your job. It's important to be able to fill your tank so that you would be able to pour into others, or fill your cup so that you'd be able to pour into others. And as women, you know, even though we tend to be socialized to take care of and care for others before we care for ourselves, and even though we may be socialized to show ourselves less love than we show others, another key area as women that we struggle with is when you're taking care of yourself in all aspects of your life: spiritual, physical, emotional, environmental, social, intellectual, occupational, financial. When you are taking care of yourself in these key self-care areas, you are able to increase the energy that you give forth to the world, give forth to the universe. Take some time to think about, who is that girl 10, 20, 30 years ago that was so effervescent, so full of life? And determine ways that you can get back to the essence of who you were at that time and bring that version of you to the forefront at this point in time as well. So if this information has been helpful to you, I would love for you to subscribe to this channel, as I will be sharing more content, especially in the weeks to come, as it relates to self-care and ease, and being able to embrace this concept and realize it's not selfish, it's self-preservation. I'm Dr. Janae Bishop-Nesbit, a wellness, life, and grief coach, here to encourage each and every one of you to subscribe, like, or comment. And please, below, tell me, how do you embrace self-care in your life, and give suggestions on how others might be able to do the same. I want to encourage you, create the best version of yourself and make the rest of your life to be the best of your life. See you soon.